Okay, so let's switch over to AutoCAD, and I have it up here. And what I've done is I've opened the file, the site plan prototype file, and here's what you want to verify. When you get ready to execute your drawings, you're going to open the file and you're going to go to the red letter application icon. And under drawing utilities, you'll go to units. And under units, you want to verify or make sure that your length type is set to decimal and 2 decimal precision. The angle type is going to be surveyor's units. You might think, well, I'm supposed to use degrees, minutes, seconds, or decimal degrees, or now let's use surveyor's units, which will produce what is represented here as a bearing angle. Degrees, minutes, seconds, which should be the third option. The NE doesn't really mean anything. That's just an example direction or quadrant. It has no influence on how the program is going to behave. Basically, what this is going to show is it's kind of like a precision for the angles. It is a precision for the angles. So it's how far we want to take it, just degrees or degrees in minutes or degrees, minutes, and seconds. So we are going to go degrees, minutes, and seconds. The insertion scale should be set to feet. And this is any case that a drawing is inserted into this one or a block or an object. It would want to be set to the same real-world scale as our civil drawing, which is typically represented in feet. So let me bring up my cheat sheet. Let me pull this over to the side on my other monitor so that I can look and see what the values are that you should be typing in. Now, in the layer manager, I'm going to go ahead and set up a layer for the property line. I'm not going to set up all the layers as you will, but since I'm going to draw the property line first, then that's the layer that I'll create. And this is going to be a magenta color. And you'll remember that I mentioned that sometimes, many times, an industry standard is that a civil firm will use colors to determine line weight. So, for example, what's often practiced is color number 1, which is red, that might be a thin line weight. And then color 2, which is yellow, a little bit thicker. And then green, thicker. And it continues to get thicker all throughout these standard colors. Then they may reserve these bottom colors for grayscale. So instead of printing black ink, it would print shades of gray. And then up here, they may reserve this for illustrative maps that would actually use color to print. So these 1 through 9 might print just black ink only and not in color. Where the bottom grays, they would print in grayscale. The ones up here, colors 10 through 249, these would print actually in color. So you could have a combination of results. So here, colors 1 through 9, we're going to use magenta. So that's a bold color, bolder than red and yellow for sure, based on our civil plot style. And that's the thing. It doesn't mean anything if you choose colors and you say, oh yeah, I'm going to make them choose different line weights. Well, you have to choose a plot style that's going to utilize those color line weights. So if you use civil, it'll work. If you use something else like monochrome, you'll get a different result. Another plot style, you'll get a different result. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that color. And the line type is going to change from continuous to Phantom 2. So I need to load it, so I'll click the load button and then scroll down to Phantom 2, which is a 0.5 length. So that means it's half the distance. The segments, the little dashes, are half the length as regular Phantom. Be careful not to choose X2 because that means it's 2 times as long, and you can kind of see that in the preview how long those are. So be sure that you choose Phantom 2, and it's a 0.5x for this. Alright, so there we go. That's set up. So I'll leave it to you to complete the rest of the layers. I'll just use this one since I'm drawing the property line first. And I want to verify at the command line or at the dynamic input, if you turn that on right there. We're going to set the LT scale. Oops, that's not the dynamic input. That's the line weight. Here's the dynamic input. So if you type in LT scale or LTS, you're going to set that to 20. Typically, in a civil drawing, whatever your drawing scale is, you would set up the line type scale to match. So our drawing scale is going to be 1 inch equals 20 feet. So our line type scale will also be 20. So we'll type that in. Now our property line layer, I forgot to set that current, so I will now so that I can begin with the line command. So on the line command, I'll start that, and our beginning point of origin is going to be starting at 85 and then comma 33. So we'll press enter for those absolute coordinates. And now I'm rubber banding, so I have my dynamic input on too. So that's this little toggle. You can press F12. And the reason why I bring that to your attention is because when you have dynamic input, you cannot press tab to go from a distance to the bearing angle when you type it in. You have to use the less than sign. So as your first drawing, you're drawing your first property line, you're going to enter 150 for the distance and just the number, no apostrophe. Then press the less than sign, which is shift less than, that's the symbol above the comma. And what you want to do is enter in your bearing. So that's going to be either upper or lowercase, doesn't matter, but it'll be N 00 for the value of the degrees. And to tell the program that you're using degrees, you have to type in a D at the end of that. So north 00D, and then 59 apostrophe, that represents the minutes, and then 08 quote, that represents the seconds, and then an E. And again, it doesn't matter if the letters are uppercase or lowercase. So now I press enter, and it draws in my first property line. You should get a result like this. This blue box is just indicate the area you're supposed to be drawing in, kind of a visual check. So my second line, by the way, I have ortho mode turned off, which is this F8, so that I'm not restricted in my rubber band from complete freedom of movement. So now my second line is 71.13. So I'll just type in the number with no apostrophe and then shift less than to go into bearing mode. And I'll type in S for the first direction, 68D for the degrees, 49 apostrophe for the minutes, and 04 quote for the seconds, and then the letter E. And that produces my next property line. So I'd continue. My next distance, 35. Try to remember, don't press tab. You got to go shift less than sign. And this will be south, 8 degrees, 18 minutes, 55 seconds, west. And press enter. And then we got 29.15 less than, south 65 degrees, 57 minutes, 22 seconds east. That produces that. Then we have 102.47 less than, south 39 degrees, 53 minutes, 24 seconds west. And then the final one, we have, what you don't want to do is snap to endpoint. In a civil drawing, whatever you're creating, you want to draw what's provided to you. Like if you're recreating this drawing, you don't want to snap to the endpoint because sometimes there may be errors in the drawing and it's not our job to fix it. It sounds kind of weird, but if you modify what's there without going out yourself and surveying, then you've just created something that doesn't reflect what is the actual recorded document. So in our purpose of recreating what is a recorded document, we recreate exactly what they have. So this last segment is 24.76 less than N 88 D 00 minutes 54 seconds west. So we'll press enter a couple times to finish out the command, and you may have a slight gap like this, usually something really small. So if I do a distance command, which is DI, and I snap to endpoints between those two, it tells me the distance is 0.00, which is probably 0.000538, some number, but it's too small to register within our 2 decimals of precision. So that's pretty good. But if you have like a 5 foot difference or something like that, or a 3 foot difference, then you may need to recheck your values for your bearings. So then you can go ahead and offset your property lines and offset the back lot line for the house. Draw the house and align the house with that lot line. Your dimensions, the way they work, when you annotate, you'll go to, let me go ahead and bring up my annotation. So I'll go to the Annotate tab, and there's going to be a Survey Dimension Style and a Survey Arrows Dimension Style. So on the dimensions, you don't want to use linear because that restricts you to straight up and down or straight sideways. So you want to use align dimensions. So align dimensions, I'll snap to endpoint, and what I'm doing right now to get my object snaps is shift right clicking, and I'll click right here, and then I want to snap to the other endpoint. This is because I'm not using my running object snaps, which I tend not to, but it's up to you. Something new. Everyone does stuff different. So to get the other endpoint snap, I'm going to shift right click again and choose endpoint. I kind of choose them as I go. And so there you can snap to midpoint to locate it, and it adds your dimension. It's on the wrong layer, so I'll choose that and then go to my layer manager, and that would be on the dimension layer. So when you want to edit your dimension, just simply type in ED at the command line, and it'll give you a chance to enter in your bearing. Now here's what you got to do to enter in your bearing. So on this one, let's see, that is going to be north. So this will be a capital, and 0, 0. And then in order to get the degree symbol, you have to type in percent D. And you see, as soon as you type in D, it turns into a little degree symbol. Okay, and then what you do is you can continue. You type in 59 apostrophe 08 quote E, and then put a few spaces, maybe 5 spaces in between the bearing and the distance that's already there. So when we close, it'll give us north 0 degrees, 59 minutes, 08 seconds east. And so you have to add your dimension with an aligned dimension so it's parallel to your property line, and then go in and edit your text to include the bearing because it won't provide it to you. And you type in percent D to get the degree symbol. Okay, so I think you have enough to get started, and all your CAD skills that you've gained up to this point should enable you to complete the remainder of the drawing. So, good luck.